Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lauren and I am your resident intuitive baddie. So I am coming back with another 3 by 3 spread. But this time, instead of doing divine counterparts, I'm going to start doing this as your inner masculine and inner feminine and how they connect. Because honestly, I don't want to do love readings. like I pride this channel and the things that I talk about to always come back to the self. And while there could be benefits from love readings, I just don't know if I want to be tapping into somebody else's energy other than who's viewing it. So who knows? Something might come through anyways. I'll take what resonates. You also take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And yeah, before we start, I'm just going to I have these little crystals here at the corners just so well honestly just so that I can see the where the edges are from where I'm filming. But we got jade over here, protection energy, green adventurine, money, prosperity. We got chrysocolla, very good for expression, and then we have amethyst, which I think of as my third eye chakra kind of stone. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, if you haven't seen this spread before, I do 3 cards for the Divine Masculine. That's 2. I'm only going to take the 2 that are facing up. I'm going to do, so sorry, yeah, I'm going to do 3 cards for the Divine Masculine, 3 cards for the Divine Feminine, and then 3 cards um, that will connect the 3. And then I will pull about 2 clarifiers for each. That's what I did last time, and funny enough, it took longer. So who knows? We'll play around with it. Okay, but yeah, okay, not like this. All right. So usually are the other times that I've done this, I just did all 3 energies at once, but we will start with separating the masculine from the feminine. Again, this is your inner masculine and inner feminine, but if you feel that this applies to a person, you can go ahead and take that however you want, however the story resonates towards you. But masculine on the top, feminine on the bottom. Let's get into it. So we have the Hierophant in the for the masculine, as well as the Chariot in reverse, and the Page of Pentacles. So the Hierophant, whenever I think about the Hierophant, I think about teachers. And in I guess in more of a traditional sense, it has to do with somebody who's very knowledgeable, I want to say, when it comes to older traditions or to belief systems that have been around for a while. So you might be somebody who might have been brushing up on certain things, certain foundations of beliefs, and to so much so to the point where you may feel ready to actually be in a leadership position or in a teacher position in whatever you're doing, because we're reading for the divine masculine, or not the divine masculine, the inner masculine. That does connect to more of, I want to say, the part of your being that has to, that does that executes, um that has, I don't want to say that has purpose, but for lack of a better term, that's what we're going to go with. The chariot is typically a card of movement, of fast movement, things moving forward. So in the reverse, it kind of alludes to some sort of stagnation. So it could be that you've been feeling you have all this knowledge, but not enough movement, or at least not not perceiving it as moving in the way that you might like. Page of Pentacles, I always look at pages as childlike energy. Page of Pentacles is, I want to say, like more of a material manifestation card. It speaks to opportunities that are developing when it comes to your so sorry, your your more materialistic physical world, your financial world. So overall, what I'm seeing in in your inner masculine energy is there's something that you're ready to do involving teaching, involving a lot of knowledge that you have to share. And I think there's an opportunity at hand, but for whatever reason, you're finding that it's stagnant. Moving on, moving on to the inner feminine. You have the Five of Swords in reverse, which is pretty good because the Five of Swords typically has to do with conflict. And I always look at, because it's the swords, it's more of a mental conflict or a verbal conflict if it is involving other people. So in the reverse, it has to do with kind of like making amends or the release of those thoughts. I kind of look at, since we're going with, since this is the inner feminine, and with this deck in particular, they represent the swords by using crows. So that's why I think of it more as like inner chatter or inner conflict more than anything, just because crows are loud, right? They make a lot of noise. So yeah, I'm seeing that that's resolving for you. And then you have the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. It is, how would you say? Because nines in tarot typically represent a more independent type of feel. So with the cups, that kind of that has to do with your emotions. Mm. What do I want to say? Ah, because this is about the feminine or your inner feminine, it has to do with actually sitting in the feeling of trusting your emotions and seeing that the things that you want in life are have the ability to be received right now. Yes. There we go. And then Ace of Wands. So I really like this Ace of Wands because I love that the fire is burning in the mind. Because what a way to signify, I want to say, like the birth of an idea. But it came out sideways. So for me, when I look at a card that comes out sideways, I look at it as feeling stuck in between two energies. So in its upright, it has to do with inspiration, sparking an idea, the potential of a new opportunity, right? But in the reverse, it kind of signifies to lack of direction, delays, not being able to see where the idea can go because the idea is just emerging. So this being in the reverse is alluding to how yeah, is alluding just to being stuck between those. So maybe while you're feeling inspired and you are seeing new opportunities and potentials and ways that you can grow, there's also a part of you that feels held back or feels like things aren't might not be happening fast enough. Yeah, okay, let's get into some connecting energies. I'm going to overlap them. Oh, okay. This is so interesting. I don't know if you... Okay, so this one I will take reversed. Actually, wait, this was second. These two are sideways though. Sorry, let me just... My OCD flaring up. Let me just do a quick check on the camera as well. I don't know if any of you guys are like this, but I hate when things aren't straight visually. So let's make a joke out of my gaze. Nobody finds that offensive for any reason. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna leave it. Cool. Okay, so for connecting energies, and the way that I will describe this is a shared energy between, I guess, the balance of these two energies, or something that's stirring it within both energies that, yeah, kind of connects the two, or even could be looked at as a way to balance the two. So we have the Six of Cups sideways. Six of Cups in the upright typically speaks about the past, and I would say that it being stuck in the middle kind of alludes to being between revisiting the past in a way where it's like fond memories versus almost overthinking into the past and living in the past, I want to say. So there might be, when it comes to your inner masculine and inner feminine, you might be oscillating between having fond memories that maybe could be the reason for your direction or the reason why you do things, but then also i'm getting I'm getting stuck in the past, or kind of feeling like you're over revisiting the past because you're feeling a lack of progress, or there's just like there's something in your past that might be holding you back. So I feel like you oscillate between the two. Maybe you have memories that motivate you and push you forward, like a childhood dream, I want to say, but then also you keep looking back and feel like you might hmm, you might even be feeling like you're over analyzing why things haven't completely taken off yet. That could be what was being released when it comes to this Five of Swords in reverse here. Interesting. Kind of like, oh, you know what it, okay, you know what I'm getting? When it comes to doing, when it comes to making moves, you've been doing well. You have been doing well in figuring out how, or just making moves in general, but not necessarily in how to receive help for it, is what I'm getting. And that's putting you in this energy of just feeling like, rather than trying to feel it out as something that is progressing forward, you just keep looking at how how long it's been, I want to say. All right, moving on to the middle. You have the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. So, Knight of Pentacles, knights in general are typically messenger cards. And the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving card in the deck. We got it in the reverse. What do we feel about that in the reverse? I think it's just more of the stuck energy, honestly. It like, especially underneath that, or connecting that chariot. But again, I'm getting it as perceived lack of movement, not necessarily lack of movement, because again, it is connecting to this wish fulfillment. Okay, let me continue. Page of Pentacles, or sorry, not Page of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Pentacles in sideways. So again, feeling stuck between the two energies. In the upright, the Ten of Pentacles is, I want to say, about longevity. It's about long-term success and generational wealth, success that will last generations. Whereas in the reverse, it's kind of like it, it it's the it I was gonna say it's the opposite, as if that wasn't obvious. It has to do with kind of like, I guess, a dark side of wealth and loss, a lot of loss, just like things not lasting very long. So what it's giving me is, while there is a part of you that believes in your ideas and believes in whatever it is that you're putting forward, there is an equal part of you that is worried that it's not going to work and that you are just going to keep losing. That, or you might have been experiencing more loss, quote unquote, because really it might not be loss. It might just be that you've had to invest more than you've seen return to you. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you've been losing. You just might be early. And I say that because this week has been a really big theme of understanding that things work for you in the background, or that the fruits of your labor will keep coming, but it still has to go through a process before it's able to do that. So what's coming to mind, and I made a video mentioning this very recently. This lecture that was by Myron Golden, and he talks about how you need to get rich before you be rich. And the example that is coming to mind is, he talks about how when he was writing a book, it took him 9 months of writing the book. He had to pay publishers and editors before he even finished the project. And then even when he finished the project, it didn't take off right away. But he did that 25 years ago, and 25 years later, he's still making, I think he said over the last year he made about something like 80K off of that one book. So And he mentions as well how the reason why a lot of people who are meant to do things end up kind of like, I want to say, shooting themselves in the foot, in so to speak, is because really we're so used to instant gratification. We're really used to having a paycheck and having something come through consistently right away. It's really instant gratification. But if you're able to put aside the work, put in the work, and recognize that you are going to have to wait, then you're you're able to allow yourself to get through the process enough to actually complete the project and then see some results. Because if you never finish the project, how are you going to how will you see results? If you decide to pull out early and just take the safe route, then of course you're never going to see anything. So that's just something to keep in mind. Anyways, let us get into clarifying each of the energies by themselves. I'm going to move these off screen, bring this down a little bit. Let me just put them over here. Okay. Hope you guys are enjoying things so far. Let's clarify the Hierophant. Can I get 2 for the Hierophant? Ooh. Oh, that's 3. Because there's one on the floor. Okay, wait. Put the Crystal Cola back. Which I am taking that as a sign, the fact that those two hit the Chrysocolla. All right, so we have the Nine of Swords in reverse, as well as the Knight of Swords and the King of Wands in the reverse. And they're paralleling each other, which is kind of interesting here. Did I say in reverse? I meant sideways. So more so more in between energy. There's a lot of in between energy here. How interesting. Okay, so Knight Nine of Swords, I think about it as thoughts that keep you up at night. In the reverse, it speaks to some sort of internalization when it comes to, I guess, whatever these thoughts are. But I always like to note with this deck that we have all these black ones here that I want to say represent negative thoughts, but holding on to the hope of this one white one. So the way that that kind of show, or what I believe that shows up to in this reading, especially after the tangent I just went on, is all the ways that you think that this won't work, but the reason why you believe it will, or versus the reason why you believe it will. And it all has to do with really trusting that one thought. So we have the King of Wands sideways, as well as the Knight of Swords in between energy. So Knight of Swords in the upright, it has to do with somebody who is ambitious, somebody who is quick to act, and I want to say like quick on their feet. They're action oriented. Whereas in the reverse, it's somebody who's more impulsive, more susceptible to burnout. So I'm getting that that is an energy that you are oscillating between. But let's look at this King of Wands here because they're paired. I used to have a guide that would tell you how to kind of read cards that shoot out together. I'll try my hand at it, but I honestly don't know if I'm doing it Right, but it has to do with, so the King of Wands has to do with somebody who is, I want to say, like a vision. It's my visionary card. It's somebody who's really passionate about what they do, and um is able to move and make movements. The natural born leader. In the reverse, it's somebody who's like more impulsive. Um, I'd have high expectations. It kind of it, it makes me think of, you know, those bosses that, it makes me think of an insecure boss, actually. I'm having literal bosses that I had that were terrible come to mind. Specifically when I was in the restaurant hospitality industry, just because it's it's the personality of somebody who wants to assert their dominance but doesn't actually know how to lead. So rather than, it's like they try to use their power as dominance rather than actually just being a good leader, and recognizing that when you are a good leader, your people will follow you and like people will listen to you. But when you're doing things by force, then yeah, you still you get things done, but you also get people talking behind your back, and you get people who are reluctant to actually respecting you. So the fact that I've gone on that tangent now, I'm getting this energy because something that I also I hear other tarot readers talk about this is how a knight is almost like a king in training. So getting those two cards together, it's kind of giving me that maybe there have been mentors that you have, or that you have had, that have been keeping you in an energy that has been making you unsure about yourself. And yeah, I'm getting that this has to do with an outside energy from you that has just been kind of kind of making you feel like, or just question whether you're ready or not to do this. But by the fact that these cards are clarifying the Hierophant, it does signify that you are, and it really has just been a mental thing. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Swords in reverse. So the Page of Swords in reverse, I like to think about this as like also like new ideas, like somebody who is in taking a lot of knowledge that is turning those things into inspiration and new ideas, specifically by the light bulb balloon things that we have here. It's take being able to take in this knowledge is taking you up. But again, this is in the reverse. So that kind of alludes to a stuckness, or this stop start energy, I want to say. Um you know what it is? It's talking about the ideas and not actually acting on them. So maybe there's been this hesitation to move on your ideas just because you have been stuck in the fact of whether you can actually execute them or not. Because again, there's a part of you that is questioning maybe even your ability to actually lead. At the top of the deck, we have the Four of Cups in reverse. So that kind of speaks to withdrawal. In the upright, the Four of Cups is kind of about boredom, or just like apathy, kind of thinking about things, contemplating things. Whereas in the reverse, it's like retreating and I want to say even avoiding the topic, something like that, or something to that effect. But yeah, let's move on to the Chariot. Let me just I'm gonna do it like this here. Feels like I have so much room, but then no room at all. Sorry, one moment. I'm just gonna check on the camera how far I can slide this over. Okay, cool. I'm gonna continue here. Took a little bit of drink. Took a little drink of water. I hope that's okay. And if not, fuck you. It's my channel. All right. Can I get two clarifiers for the chariot, please? I am absolutely not surprised by these two cards. We have the Seven of Pentacles and the Hangman. So again, I did say when I originally pulled this card or was originally talking about this card that it's perceived stuck movement, not necessarily actually stuck movement. And here with the Seven of Pentacles, that is exactly what I mean. Is that the seeds have been planted, and you are looking at the rate of growth, maybe because the thing is that there's a waiting period. The Seven of Pentacles talks about planting the seeds and understanding that you have to wait for things to grow, that your what you planted is not going to pop out the next day, and the more that you check on it doesn't mean that it's going to move forward faster. And the Hangman has to do with seeing things from a different perspective. So again, this is what I mean. This card, the Chariot, it has more to do with the perspective of how you're looking at things rather than how things actually are. On the bottom of the deck, the the underlying energy you have here is the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So the Six of Pentacles talks about reciprocity, equal give and take. In the reverse, you might be feeling like what what you've put in isn't what you're getting out, at least for now. And then at the top of the deck, we have the Knight of Wands. So the energy you do see has to do with passion and I want to say getting messages of passion, because again, the Knight of Wands is, or the Knights are messenger cards. What else can I say about that? And ooh, inspired action as well. Just like, yes, movement forward when it comes to passion. So yeah, again, it's like you are seeing that you're moving forward, but what you're feeling on the inside is that you're not getting back what you're putting in. But again, that's all perception. It really, what you're waiting on is an investment. And what I'm hearing is that you shouldn't allow the time that it's taking to psych you out. Yeah, like look at it, try to look at it in a different way, or try to look at it from that angle, I want to say. All right, let's get two for the Page of Pentacle, please. Okay, so you have, to clarify the Page of Pentacles, we have the Eight of Pentacles as well in reverse, as well as the Tower in reverse. So the way that I look at both of these cards is immediately what I'm getting is internal work, self work. The Eight of Pentacles is about seeing the fruits of your labor or working really hard and seeing the fruits of your labor. In the reverse, at least in this reading, what it's giving me is that you have a lot of hard work to do that's internal. Or maybe you have been doing it. And that's why you're starting to see these opportunities materialize, because again, it hasn't been that you aren't doing the work, it's just that you have been doing a lot of work inside. And the Tower So the tower signifies like a sudden change. And again, in the reverse, I the way that I'm looking at it in this reading is that there is a sudden change that has come in for you internally. There's been a sudden shift. Um, sorry, give me a second because I had something come through, and then it came through like a flash, and now I'm like, oh wait, where were you? Okay, so unfortunately, at this point, my mic died. So there is a section of this that I will be doing as a voiceover, but bear with me. I'm going to try to go at the pace as the video goes. But I think what I was trying to say here, or the example that I ended up giving, I know that there were two examples. I can't exactly remember what that flash was, but something I had spoken about was there was this video from this Chinese guy. I can't remember his name, but he talks about how when we set out a manifestation or we feel like we've been waiting very long for something, God makes up for it. God, source, universe, whatever you believe in for your higher power, makes up for it in the time that you get to experience it. And the thing is that at the end of the day, it's not so much that things haven't been moving, but it's just that it's been working in the background. And I think, oh, the other thing that I now I remember what that flash was. I had talked about the 80-20 rule. So I took this quest called The Art of Manifestation by Regan Hillier on Mind Valley. And she talks about this in terms of spirituality, where if you work on yourself, 80% of what you work on for yourself, it only takes about 20% of the effort to actually move the manifestation. Judging by my hands, I believe what I was saying was that the work that you are doing on yourself is had to do with your self-confidence and whatever it was with the nine of swords being in reverse and uh this feeling of self-doubt. You had to work on yourself to be able to see past that. And because of that, you are going to experience something that's going to feel like a sudden change in one moment. But really, you have just been doing the work. It's just been work that has been more silent and more internal. And when you focus on internal work, it, it's harder sometimes to tell and to see results just because, or to see the results as results just because you're healing internal wounds, and it doesn't translate as well to the external until you have somebody reflect that back to you. So especially if you are the type of person that keeps to themselves a lot or you don't share so much, um yeah. And then at the bottom of the deck here we had the high priestess. So this is something that you might have intuitively known, you, and that's what you are healing as well, is your intuition. Because what I get from that nine of swords in reverse and that energy of a leader that might have been a little bit more corrupt or might have made you feel undermined or just made you feel like you're less than, it shot your intuition, but you've repaired that now, and it is allowing you on the surface here with this king of swords at the top of the deck to become more clear. Because once you understand what's going on with yourself, then you can communicate that clearly and articulate your story a little bit more clearly. So that has to do with all the work that you've been doing internally, and that is what is allowing, I would say, the opportunity of your manifestations to finally start to show. So now I am clearing the cards so that I can bring up the feminine energy. But well, this is the part of the voiceover where it's like, oh, well, I am subject to however long it takes me to clear that now. I don't know what I probably was talking about then, but yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the reading so far. It is a very long one. I do enjoy doing in-depth readings like this, so if that is something you would like for yourself to work with me, link in the description. Otherwise, I will get on with this part of the reading. So this is the feminine energy that the inner feminine energy that we had pulled from the beginning. For the 5 of Swords in reverse, I pulled the 6 of Pentacles, and let's see what the next one was. So it had to do with reciprocity, and I believe I remember what comes out, but let me allow it to come out before I. Yes, the 3 of Swords. So what I was seeing was you have threads of energy where I guess the best I could say it is that you might have been looking for reciprocity and not getting them, or not getting that within those connections. And at the time, you that might have been what caused you to overthink that and kind of because this is alluding to your feminine energy, this is alluding to the side of you that's a little softer, the side of you that's a little bit more emotional. Um, that just might have sent you in a bit of a spiral. But what these cards are telling me now is that you are investing in relationships that do give you that reciprocity. And that is what is allowing you to kind of clear your mind now. It's mitigating that inner conflict for a little bit. Um, See, the problem with this now is when I originally bring up the cards, I might take a little bit of time to kind of gather my thoughts. So now I'm like, oh, now that I have already read them, I know how to say it in a more concise way. So now we're kind of just we're at the mercy of the video of how long it takes me to actually finish my point before I start talking about, oh, there we go. Here's the bottom of the deck. So, the bottom of the deck, we have the King of Pentacles in reverse, which alludes to somebody who isn't very good with money, somebody who might be wealth obsessed, but not doesn't really know how to maintain it. So, that gives me that you had a male figure in your life, whether it be a father figure, a partner, a business, somebody in business, somebody who might have been your boss, somebody who should be very good with money or material things, but isn't, and might have been one of those threads of connection that made you or made you feel like you weren't getting that reciprocity that you deserve. And this is something that I feel, because this is at the bottom of the deck, I had felt that this might be an energy that you haven't outright recognized yet, or not that you haven't. When I say you haven't recognized, what I mean is just that you might not have noticed how much that actually affected you, especially if it was somebody a little bit more indirect, or that you didn't have a total emotional connection with, where it's like a boss. You might not have realized that that has had affected how you were seeing reciprocity. But I do believe that that's healed now, or whether you have recognized that that was what was going on with you or why you had been feeling that way, there I do sense that clearing of it, and that's why the 6 of Pentacles is in the upright and not in the reverse. At the oh, did I okay, sorry, I'm waiting for myself to bring up the top of the deck. At some point I think I had dropped a bunch of cards, so I'm not sure if I that was then. Oh god, I just look at my nails and I'm like, I hope you guys don't mind so much. I think I overthink it a little bit, but I do believe now that I'm doing this with the overhead setup that I it makes me want to invest in my nails a lot sooner. I change them every like 3 months. Anyways, so we have the 5 of Cups in the reverse at the top of the deck. 5 of Cups to me signifies crying over spilt milk, and in the reverse, it alludes to this release of that or a moving on, which I find synonymous with the 5 of um with yeah the 5 of Swords being in the reverse as well. Fives are all about conflict in tarot, and they are cards that you actually want to have in reverse because it signifies the end of conflict or the end of or the letting go of, for the in the case of the five or the 5 of Cups in the reverse, being able to release things that made you sad. So yeah, very interesting that we have that mirroring there. I think now I am moving on to the 9 of Cups. So there we go. We have the 7 of Wands paired with the Lovers in the reverse. So the 7 of Wands has to do with protection. I often sometimes get it a little bit mixed up with the 9 of Wands because the 9 of Wands is about boundaries, but the 7 of Wands is specifically about protection, self-protection, self-preservation. So I think what I'm pointing to is that little bubble that is around the lady, and I do remember pointing out the fact that she you do see her in meditation. She has her eyes closed, her legs are crossed. She's in prayer position, but she has her face turned to the side. And this is something I'm noticing now, but in relation to the Lovers, so the Lovers is of course a love card intrinsically, but what the main point about this card is about alignment. So what it's giving me, especially with her looking to the other side, is that you have learned to look away from misalignment, from anything that is misaligned. And by protecting yourself against anything that is misaligned in your life, you're able to achieve this wish fulfillment now, or you're allowing wish fulfillment to come into play for you because the obstacles that were in your way had to do with things that were misaligned that you might have been holding on to. And now that you've learned to protect yourself from those things, it is allowing for total alignment, total fulfillment within your emotional being. Again, I am waiting for when I bring up the bottom of the deck because I don't have much more to explain on that. Um, I'm sure I could come up with things though, like just the way that the more that I look at the cards. I do want to note though that yes, this alignment does not. I don't feel that this alignment has to do with love or love specifically. At least not a romantic love specifically. This can allude to any thread of connection, whether it be familial, professional. We have the High Priestess in reverse. Oh my god, why did that take me so long? Um, and what it was giving me was when you were holding on to misalignment or connections of misalignment, it was bogging down your intuition. It was making you feel as though a little bit unsure of your intuition. It made you kind of feel like almost like you couldn't trust your intuition. And yes, the more that you protect your energy and um, stay away from misalignment or stay away from connections that make you feel misaligned, then the more that you can connect with your intuition. And then you at the top of the deck, you have the Ten of Swords in reverse. So the Ten of Swords in its upright signifies a painful release. In the reverse, I see it as more of letting go with a little bit more ease and understanding. So what it tells me is that it you have come to this understanding where you can let go of misalignment and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel like you're giving up something or like something's being ripped away from you. It's something of being able to release your grip on things and know that things will be okay, and have finding comfort in that release, I want to say. So clarifying here the Ace of Wands um in its sideways energy. We have the Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords has everything to do with feeling trapped. As you can see, she in the mirror thinks that she's tied up, and it's all a mental thing because in real life she is free. And what I believe is causing this is this Ace of Pentacles in reverse here. Ace of Pentacles has to do with financial opportunity or just like new new ventures, new opportunities, and in the reverse it signifies a loss of them. And I believe what I kind of go on a tangent on here is that you might have been looking at things in such a way where you took these financial losses or like these losses of opportunity, whether it was false starts or you tried something and it didn't really work out. You've been taking it as feeling trapped or feeling like things aren't moving forward or working out in some sort of way. But how I remember explaining it was, I remember seeing the Hangman in my mind where it's all about perception. And I think I go into a tangent where I bring up this story that I have a separate video for. Um, Actually, I don't know if I have a full video on it, but the video about my car being broken into, I kind of bring up that story, and I did my best to summarize it without getting too into detail. But long story short, from that car break in, I had intrinsically known that it was attached to something good, and it proved to be right later. But it was all based on how I saw it. If I had decided to see it as a negative thing and I didn't have the gratitude that I had when people were supporting me, and then the chain of events that had happened that led to me meeting my now business coach who was helping me for free, helping me move my business forward in a more um, efficient way, I would have missed out on it. But again, it's about how you see the loss of opportunity. And I think that can you can extrapolate that to the way that, say you had a moment where, if you're starting a business, you had a moment that looked like a fail. If you decide to look at it from a different lens and you decide to take it as information, so I think even when I was explaining it then, I was seeing the the Page of Swords in my mind, where you're taking this knowledge and you're creating ideas from that knowledge. Then a loss, you never really have losses. And that's the thing about it, where you feel you feel trapped, or you might have felt trapped in those moments, because if you're looking at it just from a 3D perspective, that's how it feels, right? But at the end of the day, if you choose to look at it as something you have gained, then you are gaining, and the universe reflects to you your internal thoughts. So, and sorry, your internal frequency. So again, it's just how you look at things. Are you looking at things as a loss, or are you looking at it as a learning experience and that you gain something. Because if you look at it as loss, you're that's what's going to be reflected in your life, loss. If you look at it as gaining knowledge, as a different form of abundance, you can only receive abundance from it. Well, I'm glad that I was able to talk about that for a little bit because I must have taken a long time to explain it. Originally, just waiting for the bottom of the deck here. Oh no, my screensaver went on. I'm like, should I plug myself some more? It bothers me so much that the green adventuring is like half not in the shot. I wonder if you guys are also wondering how I had explained it. We'll never know. That is for the replay of my life. Okay, we have the Four of Cups on the bottom here. So the underlying energy is one of, originally I think I said boredom, but I started talking about how those three cups kind of signify maybe attempts that you have had. And that fourth cup there is kind of like the lesson. So it has to do with you, yes, feeling a little apathetic when it comes to the stagnation of things, and or the feeling of stagnation and the boredom of waiting for something to happen, but it's also about contemplating. And again, I think it has to do with contemplating things differently. And there we go, there's this Page of Swords at the top of the deck. I guess I forgot that that had been pulled and I thought that I had seen it in my mind. Oops. So I'm going to just reiterate what I had said before, where what you're starting to notice is that this is information for you. That loss, or losses even, depending on how long you've been at this, it's it's knowledge that you are soaking up, and that is only going to push you further, or it's going to benefit you in a way where you're able to have new ideas or a new way of thinking about things that is going to push you forward, and that will push you more towards the the light attributes of the Ace of Wands card, of getting that idea, that manifestation off the ground. And yeah, I always like to look at how the light bulbs kind of represent balloons, because it represents sort of a how would I say? Yeah, just like ideas being able to take off. That's what I think. All right, so as you can see, I've cleared the cards, and now I am getting to clarify the connecting energies. Let me just give a little look-see here. Oh, no, I can't see. I mean, I'll know when the sound cuts back on. So clarifying the in-between energy of the Six of Cups, we have the Four of Swords in its upright, and we have the High Priestess in the reverse. So I believe what I had pointed out was something I usually like to point out, is that in needing rest, there is something to do with this red string of fate. And it kind of runs back to that Three of Swords that I think was also in, I want to say, that thread of energy, when if you're looking at it from the top down, it is in the same thread of energy, where I think there has been a need for you to recuperate and kind of recover from whatever relationship or relationships were causing you to feel blocked within your intuition. And I don't know if this is something that you need to do or you are currently doing, but that is what I was getting. And in clarifying the 6 of Cups in as a sideways energy, I think that there's a little bit of you. So again, this is the connector energy. So in both your masculine and your feminine energies, you kind of oscillate between looking at the past as looking at how far you've come in your journey, as well as getting stuck in the past and kind of seeing things like, oh, wanting to change things, if that makes sense. So a little bit of that seems to have come from certain relationships and just how you've been viewing them. And what I want to say is that the more that you look at it as part of the journey, the more you'll be able to see that everything is always working for you and everything is meant to happen, and kind of just getting in a in an energy of deciding that even though it hurts, and I'm getting something about growing pains, just how certain things play out the way that they do in the best possible way to work for you. But sometimes it's hard to see when you're in it, right? So sometimes it's hard to see, to be able to believe that good and bad can exist at the same time. Um, it's actually bringing me back to a thought that I had earlier today, but after this reading, but before I came back to re-recording this. So something to do with two truths can exist at the same time. So whatever the whatever the hurt was, yes, it happened, but it doesn't mean that it was all bad. It's not an all or nothing kind of situation. It's they both are true. Oh, did I not? Oh, interesting. I didn't go on the bottom of the deck. Oh, look at that. All right, guess we're moving on. So clarifying the King of Pentacles in the reverse, we have the Four of Pentacles in the reverse and the Knight of Cups. So so okay, the Four of Pentacles in its upright typically talks about holding on to something too tightly. In the reverse, it's almost letting go of things too loosely. So if you're thinking about this in a money sense, the best way to like, I guess, give an example is if the Four of Cups, or sorry, the Four of Pentacles in the upright is somebody who is like a penny pincher and saves every single dollar, but to the extent where they don't even get to enjoy it, then the in the reverse, it's the exact opposite, where somebody is overspending and they're not really growing their money as well. And what I was getting with the Knight of Cups, I think at first I kept getting the energy of it in reverse, where somebody's over romanticizing things. But what I was really getting is just that whatever this project is, you really love it. And it might have just been a thing where you you were spending just not efficiently. So it's like while you were investing in things that were meant to move your project forward, it's just it wasn't done in a way that allowed you to see any growth. And because of that, that is why you've been perceiving things as stuck, where it's not true, because there probably has been movement. You probably have been feeling or been able to see some sort of results.
And I think I had brought up a conversation I had with another event planner sometime last year, where she was saying that she had when she had started off, she stressed and invested a lot into her website, which, yes, is still important and is still something that people look for, but she recognized that it wasn't as important as she thought, because in the initial phases, a lot of her clients or referrals came from word of mouth. So it's like she had spent all this money and this time into the worrying about the website, when she actually didn't really need to worry about it then. And I think that's something that I'm starting to realize the more now that I have a business coach, is that I definitely did this as well, where there were things that I thought needed to be done sooner, and I delayed ever advertising, just because I thought that these little things that are probably, in hindsight, trivial, needed to be dealt with before I could actually advertise or actually put the space out there. So I'm about to realize that I wasn't recording, and I just want to say thank you for listening to this voiceover section and bearing with me.
Oh my god. I recorded a lot of that and my mic had died. So I guess that's the this is the lesson when it comes to using new equipment. I'm gonna just finish the reading and I'm gonna do my best to do a voiceover for the section that lost audio, and hopefully that should be good. But I mean, if the video shit, then that means that I this is just another learning lesson, and this is for myself. um, but yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll just reiterate what I was just saying. So the Four of Pentacles has to do with giving a little too loosely or overspending. And the Knight of Cups is more like romanticizing something, kind of just like imagining the best scenario of something. And it also has to do with creativity, some just like I want to say like an energy of being really locked in, because I'm not getting that this is a person for you. I'm getting that this is you. And this has to do with whatever it is that you're doing. It's like on an emotional level, uh, there's some sort of emotional fulfillment that you're getting here from what you're moving forward, and it just hasn't felt like you've been moving forward, because probably because you've been overspending a bit. And when I say that, it like I'm thinking about money, right? Just how there's two extremes when it comes to money. There are people who save and penny pinch and hold on so tightly that they don't enjoy their money, and which blocks the flow. But then there's also people who kind of, I want to say, disrespect or misuse it in a way where it's like they're kind of just like, oh, it's okay. Like it's like if you really believe in this idea and you really believe that things are going to work out, you might not be frugal when it comes to investing into it. And so that might have been giving you this perception that you're stuck, or that you're not really making anything from it, because it's like every time you do make something from it, it's like it seems like it just kind of leaves you right away. And not to say that you shouldn't be able to invest in whatever it is that you're doing, and it's about whether it's been effective purchases or not. So it's like um a good example I think I can think of is there was another event planner that I I was talking to, and when I was asking her kind of about how she started her business and stuff, she said that she invested in a lot of time and energy into things that proved to not really matter. when it came to her business, but it was things that she thought she needed. So I think a website was one of the things she was talking about, because what moved her business in the beginning was word of mouth. So she didn't really actually need that that website yet. Of course, it always helps to have certain things like that, but yeah, it's about whether you've been spending money in a way that's actually effective and conducive to what you're trying to achieve. And what I'm seeing is that you might have been spending money almost in an effort to just feel like you've been moving, but inherently what that is doing is it's making you insecure about why you don't really see a return. And it's not that you're not going to get some sort of return at all. It's just that the way that it's been hasn't been effective. And so that's why it just feels like it's moving even slower to the point where it feels stuck. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Three of Pentacles. I look at that as a community building card. So, what that kind of signifies to me is maybe you've been doing this by yourself, and all you've kind of really needed is help. And I don't know if it's an underlying energy just because it's been a it's been taking a while for you to actually align with the people that can help you, or that make sense to helping you, or if you've been reluctant to it up until this point, maybe because you didn't want to feel like a burden to other people, or again, like it kind of gives like, yeah, like you've just been doing this all alone. And then you have the Three of Wands at the top of the deck. So the Three of Wands is a travel card. It's all about it, it's another movement card. So this is another perception of feeling stuck, or feeling like you're staying in the same place, or just like you're not traveling, you're not moving. You know what I just heard? I just heard you find yourself where you are, not where you're going. So I think there's been a lesson that you've been learning about meeting yourself where you're at, and not feeling like you have to already have been where it is that the destination is, or not having to feel like there's a rush to get there. Let's clarify the Ten of Pentacles. Why are we feeling stuck in this energy? Why are we feeling stuck between generational wealth and ever ending loss? Is what I'm getting. Ooh, okay. Got the Two of Wands. And then you have the Six of Wands in reverse. So the Two of Wands typically has to do with kind of being stuck in this like, should I stay or should I go energy. It's like all of the twos have to do with like making a choice and balancing that choice. But yeah, the Two of Wands specifically alludes to like future planning and what is progress. And I think you've been measuring this by how much recognition you've been getting. What I'm getting for the Six of Wands is that you might have been looking for public recognition to validate what it is that you're ready to do this, and you haven't been getting that. But that isn't because you aren't meant to, or that, sorry, make sure that that's, there we go. It doesn't, it's not because people don't recognize you. What I'm getting is that you need to recognize this, that you're a star within yourself first before anybody else is actually going to reflect that to you. And you need to stop, like I'm looking at the fact that this person is looking, at the Six of Wands in reverse is like, yeah, you need to see this in yourself. That you need to see this internally before anybody outside of you is going to prove that to you. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Queen of Wands in the reverse. So again, this energy of building your self confidence before you get that recognition from other people, because in the upright the Queen of Wands has to do with kind of being a social butterfly and just feeling really confident in the room, kind of like being that person that walks into a room and um yeah, just like everybody knows that you're a star. But in the reverse, it also alludes to feeling that within yourself, feeling self-confident before anything. And this is something that you haven't really noticed, like again, because you might be thinking too much about external energies, you haven't realized that this is what everything has kind of been building on the inside for you. What you do see is again the King of Swords, and I think that this was at the top of the deck for something that was also along this line, if I'm not mistaken. I'll know when I go back in the video, but again, the King of Swords is somebody who leads with intellect, that is good with their words, that has like, I want to say, confidence within themselves and what they say. Somebody who can stand behind what they say, and to be able to do that, you do have to, um, what's it called? Uh, how would I how would I say that? You have to have an understanding of yourself and your story to be able to tell it well. So there's something about like your internal experience and the things that you're building up between your or for yourself that will allow you to access this energy. Okay, so I'm gonna get rid of all the clarifier cards and put them back in the deck. And now I'm going to read the energies from top to bottom, connecting the feminine and the masculine. So the way I'm going to do it is kind of like this. Oh, okay. Um, do, 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 do. Okay, putting all the clarifier cards back in the deck and just doing a check on the camera to make sure. Oh no, so much glare here. Hmm. Second. Nope, that did not help at all. But that's the Page of Pentacles. Now I'm gonna have to look back and see if that's been like that the whole time for this and this here. All right, so note to self, I'm going to move over the filming so that I don't get that glare. Actually, let me see if I can do that right now. Well, that helps a little bit. Okay, this back. Put this here. Okay, so let's start with the first thread of energy I want to say. So we have this teacher energy. Ooh, so a little bit of my hair. This teacher energy on the masculine side. with this overthinking on the feminine side when it comes to receiving. So, in doing and initiating in what you're supposed to be doing, you have been feeling this teacher type of energy. But when it comes to receiving that, you have been feeling, or you're getting out of feeling of this like inner conflict kind of feeling, releasing thoughts that have been creating conflict for you. And what I'm getting is both have been tied to your past and how you've been viewing the past. So, what I'm getting is everything that you've learned as the Hierophant, all the things that have to do with your self belief, your all the things that you have to teach have come from the past and like just how you've lived your journey. And the more that you're able to exit this inner conflict, the more that you're able to access this energy of it actually being about your path and not just being stuck in the past. Oh, so what I'm getting is you might have, because you might have been overthinking about the past, like you might not have been able to see before, I guess, like how to make sense of it, but you're coming into a certain coming into a time where you're able to tip the scales and you're able to see it the other way. You're able to see it in such a way where you understand that everything has happened the way it was supposed to happen so that you could embark on this teacher energy. And intuitively, it was just about letting go of the conflict. So, our second thread of energy, feeling stuck, this stuck feeling when it comes to, I guess, your wish fulfillment. Again, we have this connected by the king, the knight of oh, I almost said king of pentacles in reverse, so knight of pentacles in reverse. And yeah, again, these are two energies of feeling really stuck. But at the same time, when it comes to your feminine energy, when it comes to, I want to say, receiving and actually feeling fulfilled in your wishes, intuitively you understand this. So again, I believe this is a perception. This slowness, this stuckness is a perception. I literally had just made a really short video that was for TikTok. Um, and I was talking about how sometimes when we feel like things are stagnant, it's not that we're stagnant, it's just that things are moving in the background for us. And it talked about how we never really know who is making opportunities for us and speaking our names in rooms that we're just not in. So that's kind of what I'm seeing when it comes to this energy, is that it's a perceived stuckness, it's a perception that things haven't been moving, not that they haven't been moving, but just that they haven't been moving in front of you. But you feel this, you do feel the fulfillment coming, you feel that your wish has been fulfilled in, like, in your inner knowing. So yeah, it really is just about understanding that it's not, it really isn't that you're not moving, it's just, or that you're stuck, it's just a perception. And then we have the page of pentacles, so new opportunities manifest, or like new manifestations, with feeling stuck in between an idea that you have and moving it forward, connected by feeling stuck in between whether it's going to work or not, whether it's going to bring that longevity, that that generational wealth, or if it's just not going to work and it's going to bring loss. What I'm kind of getting is that the energy is there, the understanding is there, the opportunity is there. But within your feminine energy, you really have to trust your idea. You really have to trust that no matter what you see on the surface, that it's going to bring you longevity. And really, it's all about deciding whether you continue to allow the seeds to blossom or not, or are you going to just rip them out of the ground and be like, let's start something new. That's kind of what it's giving me, is this the this flipping upward, or getting the light attributes of this card, is dependent on how you decide to perceive and how you decide to look at your idea, and how much you're willing to believe in it. Yeah, there's no need to really over explain that. I'm going to just pull one card from the Starseed Oracle just to send you off with a message. I love the Starseed Oracle for this because it's all about light working. Okay. Do I want it? I'm not. Okay, actually, I'll take all of them. So you have star bathing, which is light body, crystal grid, transmission. Sorry, transmission. That's not even a word. Transmission and activation. So this card is kind of giving me again what I was saying about how you never know what's moving for you in the background. And I have this so there's a video that's coming to mind. This Chinese guy, I don't know what his name is. I don't remember his name at this time, but he talks about how God makes up for the time that you feel like you lost in how fast things come. And and again, it all has to do with perception. To you, in your physical reality, it might feel like you're stuck. It might feel like things aren't moving, but it's just that it's all happening for you in the background. So even though things are happening at a regular pace, or like at the pace that they're supposed to happen, when it, like, you're in a time right now where you are actually feeling like things are activating and things are about to start. And kind of what I'm getting from, like, specifically the crystal grid is just that it has something to do with you just intercepting that path now. And it's one of those things where it's going to feel like it happens and changes so quickly, but really looking back, it was always happening at an efficient pace. It's just that because you didn't see it physically, it felt like you were stuck and like it was happening slowly. But really, it it's it'll be balanced out when it actually hits. Oh, this is a lot more cards than I thought it was. Okay. Oh well. We'll try to run through them. The Golden Children, inner child, tenderness, innocence, rare gifts. This is something, again, it's kind of alluding me to the past, where this might have actually been something that's been developing for you since your childhood, depending on how you look at things when you look far back. Um but yeah, it's like these gifts are inherent. These gifts have always been meant for you, and something about connecting with your inner child to access more, or to to really solidify this te- this teacher archetype. It's like, as much as you might be viewing it as oh, I'm getting this, like, this sense of, when somebody doesn't feel like they're qualified enough, or like they have enough credentials, and then what they do is they keep studying and they keep studying until they feel ready enough. But at the end of the day, the lesson is you never will really feel ready enough, and you have to embrace still being a student while being a teacher. That's what I'm getting. And being a student means engaging in childlike in curiosity. That's how you can continue to learn with it without it kind of draining you. So, yes, connect with your inner child when it comes to whatever it is that you're building or manifesting. The cosmic heart, devotion, potency, making your life a moving prayer. So, what this is giving me is that you just need to continue to be devoted to and believing in your dream, because there's a reason why you have it. The universe would not be the you wouldn't have the idea if you weren't meant to be somebody who brings it into fruition. Now it's just about you deciding whether you will, or whether you can keep devoting yourself to it, even if you're not seeing that instant gratification of results right away. Okay, we have whale and orca elders. Share your song, frequency of sound, deep diving. So, what this is giving me is just express it. The more you talk about it, the more you dive deep into your emotions. And oh yeah, this is a whale, not a. I was gonna say dolphin energy. Well, actually, there is a. Is that a? No, that's also. Is that a shark or that's a shark, right? Yeah, that's a shark because it's got a fin. uh, but yes, the orca sharing your song. Just keep loving what you're doing. Keep talking about it. Keep telling people about it, because every opportunity that you need to make this happen is already in motion for you. But again, it all comes down to whether you're brave enough to believe in it. And for you to speak it means you believe in it. What I'm hearing as your last message is speak it into existence. Yes, just keep speaking it into existence, and it is only a matter of time. Don't allow yourself to be psyched out by the surface or like the material world. All right. Well, I really hope this resonated with you. I hope that you were able to feel some sort of confirmation from it. Get a little bit of advice on next steps if you were it, feeling that in between kind of energy. If you would like to work with me, if you'd like to have a reading, links in the description. Otherwise, I also offer one-on-one sessions or one-on-one sessions when it comes to coaching. So if you have been feeling like you're in this energy and you just need somebody to help keep you accountable and help you make sure that you are acting on the things that you want to act in, that and to help work on your internal concept so that you are in the energy of being able to bring your dreams into fruition. That is what I do. That is what I love to do. I love to help people, help be that mirror for people when you feel uncertain, when things feel like it's taking too long, or just when you need a cheerleader. Because at the end of the day, I think all of us know what to do, but sometimes we just need somebody to keep us accountable for it. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, also link in the description. But if not, I just want to thank you again for being here with me, for sitting through this reading, and until next time, goodbye.